Davies, and this is As Yet Untitled, a television programme that we make here where people just sit about chatting and drinking. No, it's not just that. They have to come up with a title. They are delightfully funny and hilarious throughout, and at the end we come up with something fit for the TV Times. Other listings, magazines are, of course, available. In order to come up with a title, I need my guests, so please will you welcome them. Here they are.
Hello.
Welcome. Romesh Ranganathan is here. Romesh will never again mix Indian cuisine and freestyle rap. Romesh Ranganathan is here. Bill Bailey is here. Bill Bailey, who recently triggered a conflict in the Balkans and had his difficulties with latex. Bill Bailey. Steve Pemberton, welcome, Steve. Steve, who has witnessed one of Peter O'Toole's finest performances. Welcome, Steve. And Diane Morgan, welcome, Diane. Diane Morgan, who wonders if flashing has gone out of fashion. Is that because you've seen less flashing than you used to?
Yeah, it's definitely gone down, yeah. I think it's because of the internet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it? Were you flashed a lot as a child?
Well, no. 3 times.
Oh, 3, were you?
Yeah.
Three different
perpetrators.
People.
Yeah.
Perps.
Yeah. One...
Was they that?
Actually, yeah.
I imagine that sort of diminishing returns on the 3rd time. All right, mate, I've seen the act. Do you know what I mean?
Well, to be honest, one of them was on a bicycle.
A drive-by flashing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, a ride-by.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And so I was walking through a park, and he was on a bicycle, and then he rode past me, stopped, dropped his trousers, and then I just stopped and watched him.
What about the bike? Did he prop it up against something?
He held it, and you can do it.
It's quite tricky to take your trousers off over the bike.
The other issue with that is you don't want to be wearing a long shirt. Because if you pull your trousers down, then the business area is just covered by the shirt. You know, you've got to wear a crop top.
Just got the little tip of your penis on the shirt.
It was a T-shirt, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, a T-shirt. But you've got to have a short. You've got to have a short T-shirt, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Or a massive cock.
Yeah. Congratulations. I wore a night dress. It wasn't a problem at all.
One of them, I was at a bus stop in Manchester, and this bloke came up to me, and he had the classic trench Mac, you know, old school, and came up to me, opened the Mac, and I just stood there, and he said, "Well, say something."
Really?
Yeah.
You wanted a review?
What are you supposed to say? Yeah.
1 star.
Yeah. I was just tempted to ask him what time the number 8 turns up, but I didn't bother.
And were they in a state of arousal, these men?
This is really weird. This is like I'm in a police station or something.
Answer the question.
One was. The bicycle man wasn't.
What about the third one?
Now?
Tell me about the third one.
Oh, the third one. That was at school. Yeah, he used to just stand... He was well known, you know. He would just stand in the bushes every lunchtime. And the girls would, on their lunch, would throw hot chips at his genitals.
So you had a spate of these incidents when you were younger, but in recent years, been less flashing.
Yeah, it stopped. In the last few years, I've had nothing.
Well, I think you're probably right.
What? About what?
I've heard of less flashing reports than I did. I think it was a thing that was very, very popular in the post-war years.
I thought it might be just me.
No, I think in the 21st century, I think you're quite right. A lot of previously people were out and about behaving oddly, and now they just do it in front of their computers.
It's a weird thing to get nostalgic about, isn't it? Like, I've heard people say, like, wagon wheels aren't as big as they used to be, but, you know, people aren't flashing as much as they used to. Modern times, it's a nightmare. I think it's social networking. What a shame.
Your days of freestyle rap, are they ongoing? I mean, you do like a rap, don't you?
Love a rap, mate.
So what
Who
happened
doesn't?
when you mixed Indian cuisine with the rap?
So basically...
What could possibly go wrong?
So basically what happened was I entered this... There's this big rap battle, nationwide rap battle competition called Battle Scars. And, I'd been getting some heat in Horsham for some of the mixtapes I've been putting out and stuff. And I sort of fancied my chances at doing this competition. So what you have to do is you have to...
Heat's a good thing, is it?
Just sort of heat bars. A lot of people saying, have you seen this guy Ranger? That was my rap name. Have you seen this guy Ranger? Apparently he's, like, spitting some bare bars and that. So I ended up doing this, like, big battle thing at the Scala in King's Cross. It was terrifying, like, really frightening. Like, it was
big venue.
Big venue, yeah. I mean, it wasn't just me. It was like a big battle, like 8 Mile. It was like that. They'd set up this big thing.
I love 8 Mile.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah. So the first round, you just go up and do your best sort of bit of bar spitting.
Right.
And they knock out half of the people based on that. So they just go, no, mate. The next round was just like 8 Mile, where, like, it's two of you, this guy has a go at you, like, you have two turns.
And you improvise on your...
Yeah. But I got through. Now, the final was 3 people on stage at the same time. And the other 2 guys could actually do it. And I'd fluked my way through to the final. So I was starting to have a bit of a panic attack. Like, I was sort of thinking, this is not going to go well. And I'd run out of, like... my brain had sort of... I was so nervous, I'd run out of stuff. And then I said... It was basically, the line that I said that got me kicked out of the competition. Immediately, the crowd went, no, boo, get him off. I said, here I am, rocking the King's Cross Scala. You can't deal with the heat of my chicken tikka masala. Now, there's a number of issues with that. First of all, why am I a chicken tikka masala? Like, that's the first thing. Second, chicken tikka masala... The weakest of all
Very
curries,
mild.
dude. Like jalfrezi, madras even.
A fowl.
If I'd have said fowl,
Oh, come
mate,
on.
he would have been murked, bruv. But I said chicken tikka masala. As soon as I said that, the crowd started throwing stuff at the stage, and that was it. That was the last time I ever did it. It was horrible.
You've never rapped since?
No. This is how bad it was. I destroyed the recordings. Like, I didn't even want to keep them for posterity. I was like, I don't want anybody ever listening to them.
You didn't even post them online?
No, absolutely not. And I just thought, I've got children. I don't want them hearing this and then not loving me anymore. So...
Do you ever do karaoke and try and do sort of rap songs on karaoke?
Well, they do.
It flashes by so quickly.
I haven't done it, but I know they do. They do have hip-hop karaoke events. I've heard it's good fun.
Yeah.
What, karaoke? Do you like karaoke?
No, I've tried. I've been in a situation, but I like you. I find that the words go past too fast, and most of the time, doing that, just peering at a screen, going, "Well, stop! Just slow down." Yeah. It's just not a very good look, and I tend not to. If I know the song, maybe.
But you think you know a song, but
Yeah.
you get up there also because we do a lot of it in Benidorm, obviously filming out there. Every single bar's got a karaoke machine in,
right,
and
of course, yeah.
and I've had so many disasters over the years trying to do "Where Do You Go To, My Lovely," which is about 18-minute song, and I know the first 3 words of it. But I love a bit of karaoke. I think if everyone's on board and everyone's enjoying it, and in fact, the most boring karaoke is people who are good singers. Then you just may as well be on a cruise ship. The best ones are when it's just some old geezer, he's well out of tune, his false teeth fall out, as I did see once in Benidorm. You're onto a winner there.
No, it is when people think they've nailed the song. I saw someone I knew get up and he did What's Going On by Marvin Gaye with his eyes closed. Really, seriously, out of tune and
It's a
I thought
joy.
this is never going to end, and you couldn't even signal to him.
It's a joy to watch. There's this fantastic one which has become a bit of a kind of theme in our family. And it's a clip of a woman, and she's from, I don't know, Eastern Europe somewhere, and she's trying to sing Mariah Carey, "If I Can't Live, If Living Is Without You." And she hasn't learnt the words, but she's just mimicked phonetically what she thinks that Mariah Carey's singing. So what she ends up singing, she sings, Ken Lee, don't you? Ken Lee, it's just gibberish. It's fantastic. Ken Lee, and she goes for it.
To see the rest of that wonderful episode, you can watch it now on UK TV Play. You can also continue listening for a few choice stories that didn't quite make the show. It's nice to have you here, Diane. You're all right with the
Got
two
my
drinks?
snowballs, yeah.
We had a little confusion earlier about ice or no ice, and we've settled on one of each.
Well, yeah, it's not meant to have ice, really. But it's quite nice with ice, turns out, so I've kept them both.
Do you not want a lukewarm one now?
Yeah.
It looks
Maybe, yeah.
absolutely dreadful without ice, if you don't mind me saying.
Yeah,
it
it
looks
does.
horrible.
Goopy.
Yeah.
Looks like someone's just overdone it with a cowpole or something like that. Just
But it looks like it should be less money for that, doesn't it?
yeah.
But really, the ice and the lemon's very marginal cost.
Yeah, you're diluting the snowball, but
Yeah.
that looks like a classier drink to me.
It does. It looks like that. That'd be about £8, and
Yeah.
that'd be about 4.
If I was having a soiree,
Yeah.
I would probably serve the one with the ice and the lemon because I think it makes you look more classy. I think that one looks like you've got your kid to sick in a glass,
Yeah,
and then you're just handing it out.
it does. It's not
But
even
enjoy it, though.
full glass.
Yeah, it's not even a full glass.
So
I
there you
actually
go.
had an email this very morning, from a woman who's a nurse, and she said, I want to give you some ideas because you do these weird dark comedies. And she said she had a patient who expectorated a lot but didn't want to be bothered calling the nurse every time, so she kept a jug under her bed, and when she kept it in her freezer. And when she left, after maybe 2 months in hospital, she presented this sort of frozen
Phlegm.
jelly of phlegm to the nurse and said, and that's what that reminds me of as well.
Right. Brilliant.
I think it looks nice.
So you've got a cup of baby sick and a glass of... She emailed you to tell you that?
Yeah, it's
I
like
know
use
I'll do.
it. And I've used it now.
Steve Pemberton off the telly. He's the one. Do you think were you on a lot of other people on or just particularly?
I don't know. Have you had it? Have any of you guys had it? The frozen phlegm email?
No. Not
It's
that
just
I
me
can
then.
recall.
Okay.
No.
And I'd be concerned if I did have. To be honest with you. I feel quite uncomfortable about it.
Is that because of League of Gentlemen or Inside Number 9? More Inside Number 9, that one, I think.
All of it, I think. Yeah.
All of it, all of your weird output.
Yeah. But there you go. I've used it now, so good.
I don't know, keep it, store it.
Yeah, like she did.
Gators will be working on a script right now. Call you in the morning. I've done the frozen phlegm script. Come
What
round,
else?
we'll read it. Do you read things together when you're in your room?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a sort of... There's no one to impress, there's no performance element to it. But yeah, you have to read it out loud at some point.
So
It's not like this, you can't just turn up and do it.
No. And do you know when you're onto something, or was it always a bit of a surprise? I mean, your stuff was so weird. When you presented it to the public, you must have been a bit amazed that they enjoyed it.
Yeah. We were a bit scared, but because, there were 4 of us in the League of Gentlemen as a group, so we've always had that sort of group thing. It's very different to doing what you guys do as a stand-up. That must be more scary. Not that I'm batting the question back, but, to work on material and then have no one to do it to. At least we had gone through our material with each other before we started.
Yeah. Well, you started in a group, though, didn't you? How many of them? How many of you were there?
Well,
at first?
I was in a double act for a long time, many years, and yes, I mean you do bat things around. I mean it's quite handy actually having someone to sort of bounce ideas off, and then in fact when I did my first solo gig was a default because my comedy partner was away on holiday, and so I was sort of doing like half an act, and it was really strange. I knew bits of the punchline, and I wasn't really paying attention to the first bit, So it was a bit, was a real kind of bit disjointed.
Sort of
really.
doing a straight face.
Yeah, and then hey, and, it was all over the place, and it took quite a long time to adapt to being on, doing solo
So
stuff.
was when he came back from holiday, found he was out of the band.
Yeah, that's sorry. Yeah, sorry. It's been going where the money's gone up, and yeah, but yeah, I mean it's a difficult one. I mean, In fact, I remember that since we're talking about it, that particular gig was a real eye opener for me, because I in the middle of the gig I abandoned this script that we'd been doing and just went off and started improvising, and that was getting laughs. And I was thinking, well, this is clearly where I should be.
That was the birth of...
Yeah, that was the start of it,
and
yeah.
it's just you and the guitar at that time?
It was me and the guitar doing sort of half an act that I could barely remember, and then somebody, said, "Oi, mate, tell us a joke," which is like, when you're on the spot, you can't think of a joke to save your life. So I just went, I got a joke for it. 3 blokes going to a pub. There you are. Huh? Silence. Like that, I thought, oh no, I better make a joke up now. I didn't have a joke, so I went 3 blokes in a pub, and there was actually 4. So I was just coasting, really. There's 4. There's actually 5 blokes. There's 6 blokes. There's actually 7. I say it's 8. There's 10. There's 100 blokes goes in a pub. 50. I say 100, 500. It's a couple of thousand in the end. 5,000 blokes. 10,000. It went on and on and on. And and eventually it was like all the blokes in the planet go into a pub. And the first bloke says, "I'll get these." And I said, "What an idiot," And that was. And I thought, God, this is the kind of comedy that I prefer to do, rather sort of rat-a-tat, it's a quick fire.
Yeah, no, it's quite hard to really... I don't know, I've never been in a double act. You do sketches with Joe Wilkinson, don't you?
Yeah, but got rid of the dead wood now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was so much nicer to be in a double act. Because if you die, you can blame it on the other person.
You could share it out.
Yeah.
You didn't do a lot of dying, no? You two, I can't imagine.
Oh, God, no. Yes, we did.
Did you?
Yeah. Our first Edinburgh, I remember our first ever show, someone in the audience stood up and said, "I think you're shit." And I was in the wings at the time, putting a really ridiculous costume on. I had to go out and do this monologue. And I was thinking, shit, I do not want to go out there now, looking like this.
So they said, "I think you're shit" to Joe?
"I think you're shit." And he said, "What, mate?" And the man repeated it. He said, "I said, I think you're shit." And,
did he run out and go, "Well, I'm all right then"?
yeah, not me, right?
Not me.
Not me. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he did that thing where after the show he came round and shook our hands. It was like, "Hey, well."
Oh, I've had that where I've been like, when you start and you're doing like the weekend clubs and like you sort of loads of stag do's and hen do's, and I was comparing a gig, and it was really going badly, and there's this bloke just shouting at me, just going, "Oh, you rubbish! You look like an idiot! I hate your jumper!" and all this stuff, and I was just sort of dealing with it the whole night, just thinking, I hope you die soon, and then at the end of the night, I just had this torrid time, and he came up to me and he goes, "Mate, that was brilliant what we had going on there." And I was like, "No, you ruined my evening, you prick." So, it was horrible, but they seemed that he sort of thought he was contributing. Yeah. Give him a bit of material, mate. Make him feel bad about yourself and just hating life.
Did he have a lot of mates with him?
He was, he was sat on the front with like a load of like guys or whatever, and they're all like, they were loving it every time he said something. Yeah.
Because I think it's on the mates to say, "All right, shut up."
Yeah. No, I think he was like the ring. He was like the guy, the funny guy of the group. And so they thought, "Oh, mate, look at you're nailing the comedian, mate. I thought you were a legend, and now you've confirmed it." Oh, we pathetic. Do you know what I mean?
But are you tempted at that point to go off and say, "Have him slung out"? Or is it a matter of pride that you've got to deal with it all night?
I think, the problem is like people do... I have had times when somebody said something unacceptable or beyond beyond what's banter or appropriate, but... You just know that if you get them thrown out or whatever, I feel like you've lost in a way. Do you know what I mean? Or somebody's going to come up to you and go, "Man, it was all good fun when he was sort of racially abusing you, mate. I don't know why you had to ruin it by having him thrown out." Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just sort of... I think it's difficult. Part of you thinks that by having them thrown out that you've lost, but I think it's different. When you're doing a comedy club, I think it's like that. When you're doing a tour show, I think it's a bit different. I think if somebody's come to a tour show and they're watching you, and then somebody's shouting stuff out, then they have to go, because this is not that. It's a different environment, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's not like when you're at a comedy club, you're basically sort of a beer delivery system, aren't you? You're sort of you're something to look at while people get drunk. Whereas with a tour show, hopefully they're coming because they're coming to watch the show. So I think it's a different thing if somebody's heckling you then. And I made that mistake because when I started, I was supporting Sean Walsh. You know, I'd not done support before, and I'd only been doing clubs and stuff like that. And so I'd got this club mentality. And went out to do the support, and so I said something like, "I've got kids." Somebody, "Oh, have you?" And I went, "Shut the hell up, mate!" And then I realised that you're just at a theatre, dude. Like this guy's just come out for a nice evening. You're not doing Saturday night. Do you know what I mean? And they're smashed up. This guy's just come out for a nice show. He said something, and then the support actor just totally destroyed him. I mean, I wasn't even doing that well at the time. I didn't have the crowd on my side. Do you know what I mean? I died up to that point. Then start having a go at this guy, and then just sitting there going, "Well, I thought he was shit. Now I also think he's an arsehole." Do you know what I mean? It's
But maybe that's the right thing to do, because you're opening up for Sean so that you can soften him up a bit, deter anyone.
Well,
Go out like good cop, bad cop.
Well, I think some people feel like you can be too horrible, but you know, like somebody like if you watch Louis C.K., like Louis C.K.'s got such a stern attitude towards hecklers. You know, he just thinks if you interrupt me, then it's open season. I can say whatever I like to. I can say that I hope all your family die and I hope your house burns down or whatever. And he just thinks you've opened the door by daring to speak while he's doing his thing. Well, good luck to you, mate. Now you're going to get both guns.
Sort of Sam Kinison approach.
Yeah, basically,
If
yeah.
someone's heckles Sam Kinison, then he'll start making terrible remarks about their mother. Like, you won't recognise her, because after I finished having sex with her, I shaved her back. It's the one that sticks out in my memory.
Yeah.
Sam's repertoire of put-downs.
It's one of the few ones that you can repeat, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you have, as a stand-up, do you have a series of heckle comeback lines, you know, put-down lines, or do you say what comes into your head?
I found that I sort of started... When you first start out and you hear somebody... Apparently, I don't know, the unwritten rule is if it's a heckle put down, there's sort of a bank, there's sort of a supply of ones that are sort of for common usage.
Yeah.
You can just dip
You
into
can
the
Google
box
them.
and throw them out, do you know what I mean? But actually, you stop doing that because you're so terrified when you first start out that I feel that as soon as somebody says something, it's the biggest fear when you start doing stand-up, for me it was anyway, was being heckled. And then when you get heckled, you're so terrified, your brain won't give you anything off the cuff because you're just like, it's happening, like you feared it was going to happen, it's happening. You know, and so you just go, I'm going to say that. But then what happens is as you go on, you might come up with something off the cuff, and then that works so well, you think, hello, I've just added to my arsenal. Romesh, you clever devil. But I think that ideally, I would like to come up with something brand new or specific.
Harry Hill I used to gig a lot with Harry Hill when we started, and he used to say, "You heckle me now, but I am safe in the knowledge that I have a roast chicken in the oven at home."
That's lovely.
And that's
every time. So mad and off the...
And that, by the way, that works with any food.
Yeah.
You could do different. You could do lasagna.
I used to sort of go and take a
veggie
politician's
option.
approach,
Yeah.
which is repeat the question and then say things like, "I'd like to answer that in the following way." I'm glad you asked me that. And buy time by repeating.
Yeah,
It actually
repeating
doesn't
is good.
happen that much as you think it would. Before you start doing stand-up, you think everyone's going to be heckling. But it's not that common, is it? It's not.
It's not really, no.
It doesn't happen that often.
Not if you're good.
No.
But for me, almost every gig, people are asking questions and wondering what the hell this guy was doing. Do you know what I mean? I had a really awkward one where I was doing a gig in Brighton, and you know, Brighton audiences are so worried about anyone being offended or whatever, and I was talking about not
The Green
what-
Party.
Yeah.
Giving them a kick in.
Well, it's not hard, is it? No.
Well, actually, what happened was I was talking about not wanting to take my kids on holiday, and then some drunk guy said, "Yeah, mate, chip off the little ragamuffin." And it's a weird thing to say. And I said, "Did you just say ragamuffin?" Because it's such an old-fashioned... I just couldn't believe it. And then, for some reason, because it's Brighton, they just went, "You can't, just because he's Asian, you can't say ragamuffin." And I was like, "That's not. I don't think that's what this is."
No, it's not
And then they
racist.
all started reacting. Right, "You're disgusting. I can't believe you said they described this child as a ragamuffin. He needs to go. He needs to go." The bouncers came and kicked the guy out. Right, so they come over and I'm going, "Mate, you don't have to do that. He didn't mean it like that. Did you, mate?" And he's like, "No, I was just saying ragamuffin." And they just turfed him out, and it was
For a
sort
laugh.
of. Yeah, and I finished and went to try and find him, but he was gone. And I just thought that is an example of almost you're being too protective.
You know what that
there,
is?
do you know?
It's political correctness
I know.
gone mad.
I know. I know, mate.